Have you heard of the new addition to the Go for Donnie podcast? I haven't either, but it's called Switch to Channel 2. That is where Donnie will get to ask his guests some questions so you, the listener, get to know them better. And remember, hashtag HTFU.
Hey guys, welcome to Switch to Channel 2. Rutledge Wood is here with me on Switch to Channel 2. Rutledge, in case you didn't know, on set, whenever we had to have some chatter, we'd always reach back and switch to Channel 2. We'd have our chatter, everyone else would listen in, and then you go back to your respected channels. So,
Are you telling me as if I didn't switch every single time I heard someone say it?
yeah.
I loved watching this show the other day, and y'all were talking about, I think it was McFarlane and David Silverman talking about, anytime you'd hear someone say it, the whole crew switches. So it's also a funny thing that, like, there's this veil of, like, oh, we're fine over here. But literally every person with a radio, I'd have no business. I'd hear a cast, like, they'd be talking about catering, and I was like, I'll be damned, I gotta hear about lunch. Like, oh, no, there's no burritos? Like, we would listen to everything, but sometimes you'd get over there, and then you'd have this weird feeling like, oh, I really shouldn't have clicked over here. Now what do I do? This is actually deep information I wish I didn't have. Oh gosh! Like, you'd click over and they'd be like, "Listen, so we just talked to the rodent wrangler.
Oh, the rodent!
Apparently, one of those mice that we put in Rut's helmet, it came back. It's real bad." It's real bad. We're going to have to figure out how to tell him he needs to go to the hospital and just get checked out. And then you hear this long pause like, that's a 10-4.
So that's your answer to your first question. What was your favorite Top Gear episode? That would be that episode that we stuck you in a helmet with all those.
The rat helmet sucked so bad. The reason it sucked so bad is that, number one, we never found a helmet that fit me, but that was a gigantic orb. And it also didn't fit. There's a hole, and then they have a guy who, no shit, looked like, and if you see this, sir, I mean this with love and respect. The rodent wrangler looked like the real life version of the guy that runs the comic book store on The Simpsons.
Oh my god.
Are you the creator of Hyru and Lois? Because you were making me laugh. Dude comes out of, like, I swear he had like a cyanectomy and a rat, ironically, a rat tail. And he's like, hey guys, what do you want to do with all the rats? And I was just like, Jesus, no, please, God, don't let this be happening. Now, they did it to everyone, to be fair. Mine was the only one that made the edit of the show, but everyone had to do it. The problem is everyone else had like a normal size one, but mine was just bigger than the dome of my head. So when they dropped the rats in, I swear, Donnie, I heard them scream. I could hear them being like, oh God, what are we doing in here? This is bad. And then when they started to shit in the helmet,
they're peeing in the helmet.
They're peeing and pooping on my head, and I'm locked in it. I am locked in. It was hard to get the orb on, and now there's like 8 rats in there with me. I'll be damned. We didn't leave the part in when they're like trying to pull it off, and each time you can hear like, oh, like there's a rat trapped in there. It's the worst shit I had ever experienced at work. And then immediately I was like, I need a shower. Screw all of you. I need a shower.
I think you yelled something about, I'm touching the poop, or tasting the poop, or something. I was like, oh my God, I can hear you yelling it. Woo! So
it was so bad.
Oh.
They smelled horrible.
Jeez. All right. So
that was probably my worst day.
Oh my God, Rutledge. I mean, I look at some pictures that I have, of you in different compromising positions, and with like food and shit all caked all over you, where you just have these goggles on, and I think I'm like, man, we really put you in some shitty situations, like police cars, sticking you in the gas.
Oh, when you guys tear gas me when you'll let someone open the back door? That was nice. I
remember now.
That.
I think T. Foust maybe went back there and did something.
Yeah, for the record, I believe we were testing the strength of these cars and how they were sealed up because it was like a police car episode. So I think I feel like I was in the Chevy. That's when they brought that Australian Holden over and they called it the Caprice. I think that's what I was in. And I'm sitting in there, I'm getting the tear gases going up. We're in like a collector car bubble. So it's like a airlock around there kind of thing. And they're going to set the can off and you just sit in there and see like, can it get in the vents or not? Cool. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm going okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, boys, it's getting, and I realized Tanner has cracked the back door open and the can's like right by the door. And all of a sudden I'm just out. I'm on the ground. There's just stuff coming out of all of my orbs. That was a lot.
That was one.
Day.
Yeah, you weren't happy about that one. That was
didn't love that one. But you know what? I knew what we were doing. I knew we were making a show.
I also just saw another picture of you standing in front of my favorite car, the Yaris, which I love the Yaris, and we'll talk about Monument Valley in a second. But you were standing. Where is it? You were standing out in some shit. I think we did. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we did some challenge where you guys had to get through some shit or some like. It looked like shit, manure, water, mud, and then you had to get out and hook up a tow strap to the artist.
Yes. We were trying to get through this, like, what I thought was like a mud patch, right? And it was, let's say it's like 100 feet deep, and I went as fast as I could, and I made it all of like 25 feet, like just, and it was buried like axle deep. And they're like, okay, so you got to hop out. And I was like, well, where am I supposed to go? There's just mud. And they're like, yeah, you got to get out there and get in. And so as soon as I kind of climb out, I was like, oh, this is like thick. I'm going to ruin my shoes. This is like 10 minutes into a week-long trip. So I'm almost like, well, I can't ruin all this stuff. Like, all right, I guess I'll take my boots off. And then I climbed down there and I realized, oh, this isn't mud. Like I'm in a massive pile of shit. This is knee-deep shit I'm in. And I was so pissed.
Oh my God. You were not happy.
I was so pissed, and I was like, why do we do this? I thought you guys liked me. This is not okay.
Oh my gosh, that was so wrong. But you were a good sport. I mean, I will say, a lot of times off camera, you'd be like, yeah, fuck, you'd be like, this is fucked up, damn it. You'd mumble a few things. Then when we call action, you would nail it. You would do it. Only a few times you would maybe stop while we're actually filming and be like, fuck you guys, I'm not doing this. But
I don't remember. I feel like if I did, it was maybe only once.
Maybe it was once, slightly, just like, no.
I appreciated that, I would come over to you and I would just look at you and be like, now you knew I was going to do it, but I'd look over you and be like, Donny, I feel like if I call my union rep right now, I figure we'll all have 3-4 solid weeks of vacation, and you'd be like, yeah. Yeah, do you want to use my phone? I'm like, yeah, because mine's not in my pocket. Like whatever the thing was, I would always just be like, if we test this soil, every one of us is going to jail, and I'm not going to have this on my watch. So I'm going to go back there and I'm going to do it. But inside, I just want you to know,
you're such
I'm
a good
call
sport.
Fox 5. I'm going to get 5 on my side.
You of all people were a good sport because I feel like we put you in the most compromising positions.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I took myself the least seriously, and probably still do, of the 3. I also was the youngest, and I came into this with the least amount of experience in television. So, like, I was kind of set up to be the whipping boy from the very beginning. And you know what? You got to know your role, brother. Like, there's an ass for every seat. We learned when we did that used car episode. That's what the guy told us. And you know what? My ass fit just fine in that seat, and I'm gonna just smile the whole time. So I took it, but man, there were a couple times I was literally like, "Hey guys, off camera, I'm starting to think y'all actually don't like me. Are y'all? This feels like the 8th grade lunchroom. Is everything okay? Did I say something?
Like the manure in the Miata, yeah, and driving and dumping shit all over San Antonio and the Alamo.
That would have been fine had I not punched a hole in the clutch line 20 minutes into the show. But the fact that I no longer had a clutch and I had to drive that. Remember, I had to start it in first gear with the starter, and then I had to rev match, which is fine if you're into that. When you are under duress and there is literal cow poop all over you, rev matching to shift, it's not as much fun as you would think. It's just, I couldn't stop was the other thing. Like, I couldn't put it in neutral because I couldn't put it back in gear. So if we stopped, I literally just have to turn the car off and just let it stop in gear. And there's crap everywhere. That time, the best part of that show was for sure that if anyone saw the movie Tropic Thunder, Adam looked just... He looked just like Robert Downey Jr. in that, like, he got out of that car not as the white dude from New York. Like,
that's so right. I got a picture of that somewhere. Oh my God, I remember that. That's when he got out of the scale. When we got back, he had to measure how much shit he didn't drop at the Alamo or on the belt loop in San Antonio.
It was incredible. And you know, I ended up buying Tanner's jacked up BMW from the show that we used on that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had that for 5 minutes. And it was because it was on a Toyota frame. That's the only reason I wanted that thing. It was so awesome. My poor Miata, that thing lost a wheel. Just ripped the whole.
That's right. The wheel.
We got on the racetrack, and it just like sheared the whole spacer. There was no bolts. There was nothing. That's
I think Graham was over there with the camera. I think he had to move.
Yeah. Adam's car caught on fire. Go figure. It was Adam's.
Yep.
30 seconds in, I'm on fire. Like, it was just such a you've got to be kidding me. I'm on fire.
Classic Adam. I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, God, my car died. Oh, all right. So that's funny. So, do you have a favorite Top Gear episode that you may have filmed that I was a part of?
It's way too hard to pick one. I had a lot that I really loved. The long journeys were the greatest. Iceland is up there. Alaska is up there. Mexico was funny because I was so concerned about getting sick the entire time.
Yep. And
I got stopped going into Mexico for looking suspicious. And I was the only one that spoke Spanish at all out of the three of us. They don't speak any. I barely speak any. But I've just got enough to be confident in El Ranchero, my local Mexican restaurant. But I was trying to explain that we're shooting a movie, a TV show. And they're like, yeah, but why are you in this old drug van? And I was like, it's not. It's just a Volkswagen. And they're like, yeah, why do you have all these cameras in it? And I was like, but those guys drove through in front of me also with cameras. Why? It was so hard to explain that. And eventually one of y'all came and helped me and I got through customs. But that was going into Mexico. The last thing that I thought would happen. Plus, there was this Altima the next morning, weaving through, taking pictures. And I was like, oh, for sure, the cartel's killing us. We're all dead. Turns out, no. They're just huge Top Gear fans. I was like, I am so sorry.
I mean, in all fairness, we did drive in and around Tijuana filming everywhere, all the way down to San Felipe. You know, I mean, it's still Mexico. I mean, I feel safe. I filmed a lot there in Mexico, but you're still.
It was awesome, dude. The people were great. I'd never been to Tijuana. It's awesome. What a cool little spot, man. I wish I was close enough to go back, because I feel like that's the kind of thing that if I lived anywhere near San Diego, I'd be like, yeah, let's go down on Sunday for lunch. Let's go have some fun. But it's just that was definitely one of my favorites because it was so funny, unique, and different. Were you on the winter driving one was it Minot, Minnesota?
Oh yeah, way up there, the Minnesota up there.
Yeah, that one was one of my favorites for a couple reasons. Number one, we were on a former army base that was built to keep an eye on Canada. Hilarious. Hilarious, because they built it and then they're like, guys, these people are cool. I think we can just walk away. They seem awesome. yeah, let's shut it down. So it gets shut down for like 50 years. And then someone's like, oh, let's turn it into an automotive testing ground. That one was so fun because the snow was just, it was everywhere. And it was so fun to play in and drive in. I had the only car that didn't blow up.
Your Subaru, I used your Subaru to pull people out with that fucking thing. I loved your Subaru.
It was great. I think Sylvie bought it after the show, drove it for another year or something.
Yeah.
But Adam's car blew up. Tanner's car blew up. And we had to find replacements in like Minneapolis, which was 2.5 hours away. Find them, buy them, paint them, and then put them back in as if the other car didn't explode.
Yeah.
Because go figure, we're idiots. We bought cars in Southern California that have never been even remotely cold, and then we put them in the coldest place in the world, and go figure, they went kaboom. So that one was awesome, and the fact that we got to, you remember, I think we went and played racquetball in the like old army barracks gymnasium.
Yeah.
That place was just awesome.
Going in and doing the old water trick, we kept doing that in the ice chamber.
Oh, when you throw it outside and watch it? Yeah.
You guys didn't last long. That was cold. That was fucking cold in that thing. It was cold.
Yeah, when we sat in that, it was like a -30 freezer to keep the cars in to see who could stand in there the longest. Yes. And y'all made us sit in there in like our t-shirts.
Well, you say you all. I mean, you're grouping me with y'all. I mean, maybe them.
I'm pretty sure you were the one who had to say like, okay, and just if you could just leave your jackets here. Like, I think we were in our boxers and a t-shirt.
Sounds about right. Sounds
because I think y'all were like, here's the thing: if we let them wear their jackets, we're going to be here a few hours. Let's speed this along. I'm glad no one was like, I don't know if the audience wants to see these three in their underwear and a t-shirt. I was told after Death Valley when I got woken up by Adam or it was Adam, right, hitting my camper. I was told 2 things. Number 1. Never be on TV in your underwear again, and do not wear that hat again.
Oh man, that hat though. I mean, that was it keeps you warm, and that was kind of funny.
It was great.
That's kind of funny.
That was a great time.
Getting fan mail, telling you not to make sure you clothes.
Oh no, that was my family. My family said, you will not appear in your underwear again, and you cannot wear that hat. You look like an idiot.
Family are always the most honest with you, I find.
They really are. They really are.
Hey, can you tell me about your first time on set or on camera? What it was like for you?
Oh, gosh. First time on set for Top Gear, I think the very first thing we did was Moonshine.
Well, I remember that episode. You guys got drunk.
We did. I think that was the very first time. The best part is we show up and we're in North Carolina. We're way north of Charlotte. We're up by like Wilkesboro. Yeah, because the mayor of Wilkesboro brought us the Moonshine. But we get out there and Tanner had come from a race or something and he didn't have a shirt. And he went to Walmart. And I'll be damned if he didn't buy a shirt that looked just like mine. But we don't notice until the show airs because in person it looked a little bit different. But then when you see us standing there, you're like, what? Why are y'all wearing the same shirt? I was like, I brought this. I don't know this guy. We had the worst cars ever. They were total crap boxes. But watching Adam launch that caddy on the little motocross track and bend it in half, that's still, I remember the sound. Like it was like a thud and then a very like hollow metal sound. And then like, oh God, is he dead? Like, oh, he's okay. Well, that was amazing. Like everything about that show. And then Tanner had to leave at the very end as we were finishing something up. And he got pulled over on the way to the airport as he left because he made the PA let him drive. He was like, you got to pull over and let me drive. And then he got pulled over. I was like, oh, that told me everything I need to know for the next 7 years. I mean, that one was incredible. Talk about taking stuff. Because I was also like, I don't know if we'll ever get to do this again. What if we just do this one? I took the shift knob from Tanner's. He had an old 300ZX on that show. And it was a wooden Momo Benetton steering shift knob that matched the Benetton steering wheel that I had. And so I put it on this 83 Civic wagon that has been passed around a few times at an auction. But so someone has like the first show of Top Gear, this cool little memento.
Did they know that or is that just getting out now.
I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't know
Cool.
if I told anybody.
I mean,
yeah,
people,
it was
people
awesome.
would buy stuff just because it was in the show. People would buy stuff just because you had it, you know.
I have there's a Dodge emblem right up there from the van for car for life, vehicle for life. Yeah, when I had that awesome shaggin' wagon. That one was great. I also I was lucky enough, because I'm an idiot too. I would buy cars from the show because we couldn't sell the cars to the public. If we couldn't scrap them, then sometimes, those of us who worked on the show were lucky enough to have them. Because did you buy the Yaris?
No, I wish. I think David did. Someone bought it.
No,
I wish I would have.
Did Senior end up with it?
No, Senior, I don't think so.
I think Senior moved out here, by the way. He asked me about looking for a house, and I hope I've still not seen him. I think he did. I ended up with the school bus that had the flamethrower on the roof.
Shut up, you did?
Yes, with the snowplow on it. I bought it, the BMW that was on the Toyota frame from the Texas show, and the time we mixed the best-selling car and the best-selling truck, so we put a Camry on an F-150 frame. I bought all three of these ridiculous jacked up things and brought them back to Georgia, and everyone's like, "Are you like the king of the rednecks now? What just happened?" So I drove this thing around with a working snowplow on it, and then I was like, "Guys, this snowplow is stupid. It's never going to snow in Georgia again. I don't need this." So we cut it off, and I put it on Craigslist, and this guy from Boston bought it. Apparently it was like a $5,000 snowplow.
Wow.
And I think I put it up for $1,200 or something. And the guy told his wife, I know this is a scam. I'm going to go down there. These guys are going to rob me. But I have to, the chance that it might not be is I have to do this. And so the whole way down, the guy's like, he's just ready. He's just ready to get scammed. And he showed up and he's like, "Oh my God, this is real. You guys are really selling me this?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, nobody in Georgia needs a snowplow. I didn't know what else to do with it. So I picked a number and I sold it." And he's like, "Thank you so much. I'm going to start a new business with this." It was great, man. He took it home and put it on something. Yeah. So
happy as hell. Oh man. I mean, yeah. And then did it snow? Did it snow again? Kind of like when you wash your car, then it rains.
Absolutely. It has snowed one time since then, and they think it's going to snow tomorrow. They've already canceled school here.
That's right. Oh my gosh. It might snow, so they can cancel school. Jeez. You know what it is? It's probably all the orbs. Maybe the orbs are bringing it out. You have any thoughts on all these orbs and drones there, Rhett?
Donnie, I didn't know if are we switching to channel 2? We've already switched.
Oh, we've switched. Oh yeah.
Okay. Can we go to channel 4? My favorite thing was when we would switch to a different channel, and then be like, "Hey, let's go to 8."
Yeah. I probably
and occasionally you'd shake a few people because they wouldn't switch in time.
Yeah. Yeah. You get or they have codes actually 2 would be 4. Or
yes, I heard Sylvie saying we'd say 10, but we'd really mean 5, and I was like, "Oh, bro, that." I just would click over till I heard people talking, and then I'd just stay there. But
I wouldn't have that much time. I wouldn't have much time.
The magic of it. What I'll tell you is that there's no easy way to say this. My algorithm on Instagram right now is really... it's 2 C's. It's cars and conspiracies. It is heavy, and I don't know how to reset it. But there's some days I look on there, and I'm like, guys, this is not what I'm looking for. Yeah. I don't need to know. Leave Benjamin Franklin alone for a minute. Let me just.
If you leave it on one video too long, and then you're like shit. Now that man, I didn't need to know all this stuff.
It's bonkers. What I will say is, I saw this image or a video of a dude who had an American flag bandana on, who shot one of the orbs down.
I saw that. I saw him. Yeah, and he's hiding.
the dude's in hiding, and I'm a jackass because all it made me want to do was make parody videos of "Hey guys, yeah, I had him dip the cone in chocolate. I'm gonna have to lay low for a little while." It made me just want to do dumb stuff that makes no difference whatsoever.
Easy to parody,
but
easy.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. Maybe that's what I'll start doing. It really seems weird though, and I don't like it. I don't like that stuff. I don't watch the news because I can't. I don't have a lot of anxiety as a human being. The only thing you know, and you saw it, I only have anxiety about missing a plane to come home or missing a flight to go to work.
So true.
Every time y'all rap and be like, all right, guys, your flight's in 4 hours. I'm like, yeah, we got to go right now. And you're like, I can see the airport from here. And I was like, Donnie, not now. I got to be over there. Like, I just, turns out it's really important to get home to my family. And I didn't want to mess that up. We were one time, Adam and I were at LAX at our gate. And I called Tanner in Orange County, and he was still in his bed. And I was like, bro, you're going to miss the flight. And he's like, no, I got it. He hopped up. He got in his car. He drove an hour, parked, got through security, and he was like, he had maybe 8 more minutes to board. And he was big smile on his face. And I was sweating bullets because I'm also like, if he doesn't show up, we can't shoot the show. So please don't grenade us plus the 20 of y'all. Like, I need you here. Like, there's no gray area for me. That I just can't live like that. I've had to run for maybe 3 flights ever. That's the worst crap alive.
Yep. I've done it once in India, and it was like the gate was the farthest from the front entrance.
Sure.
We were late. We went to a different airport. I mean, it was horrible. And that's the first time I ever had to really, truly run. And they were closing the doors right after me. And I'm like, fuck this.
Were you working on a show with Rupert for that?
Not that one, but we did go to that was a different time in India. But we
okay.
did go to
I was saying, I feel like y'all went to corners of the world.
We went there for with Jeremy Renner. And Mikey Schneier was our DP, and it was hotter than I've ever.
Mike was the other guy I was trying to think of. Not Schneier, but there was another Mike. Do you remember the other 5D guy?
Oh, not
Flores?
Yeah, Mike Flores. Yeah, Mike Flores. Yeah. Good job. See? You'd come back to you. It's just a little slower now, getting those gears going.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut out the whole other part. We couldn't think of his damn name unless you would have voiced over and be like, Mike Flores. Oh, you mean Mike Flores.
Oh, that would be so freaking funny, doing some Frankenbite, some voiceover.
I think you should. We'll just see if he notices. It'd be the right thing to do.
Hey, I got 2 more questions for you before I let you go. One, how's it like flying with Tanner Foust now that he has a plane and he is a licensed pilot?
Licensed pilot. I want to be honest. These 2 guys are 2 of my closest friends in the world. They feel like brothers to me. And Adam is like the big brother you always dreamed of for me. Tanner is like the big brother you didn't want to have because he's so good at everything.
Yeah.
Effortlessly. And I always laugh and say, like, if we invented a game right now, the 2 of us, he could walk in this room, 0 knowledge of it, and beat both of us at it without trying. He's not trying to do that. He's just that guy. And I love both of them so much. When he bought the plane, I was very upset. And I basically told him, like, look, dude, I love you like a brother. I'm not going to read your eulogy.
Yeah. And
there's just this long pause. I was like, just because you're a white dude with money who thinks his time is more valuable than everyone else, it's not. And I don't support this in any way. I'm not going to get in that plane with you. Like, this is a mistake. And I'm not okay with this. I don't understand why you do that. You're a father. Like, that's not okay. And he was like, all right, I hear you. Let me explain why. And he went through all these different reasons. Now, it's still at the core a successful white guy with money, so my time is more valuable. But I watched how he did his training and everything else, and so it started with like, okay, well, I'd see him come to a shoot or come to something we were doing. Okay, well, I was staying out there with him one time. He's like, let's just take a ride together. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I'm calling home. I was like, all right, I'm going to ride with Tanner. And I think we flew to Catalina for breakfast or something, maybe lunch. And I was like, okay, this is different than I thought. He very much approaches that thing the same way a race car driver would approach anything. So it is all of this information. He's processing it in real time. There's all the training that it takes. And then it's literally hitting numbers, understanding what all these things mean. And he turns out is an incredibly accomplished pilot. And I'm really proud of what he's done with that. He's just gotten his new plane. So it's kind of, he got a plane with 2 more seats, and it's a little bit faster, which, that's really what he wanted.
Yeah.
He didn't care about the seats. He did not care about the seats. He just wanted to go faster. So now we're in a weird place where I sort of feel the same way again, but I will give him, I don't know, probably a year in that one before I would get in it. But they moved to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and the other plane he had wouldn't be great for kind of the icy conditions and stuff that's up there. So I get that. But it's wild, man. He is a great pilot. I was lucky enough to perform the wedding.
Oh, you did?
Ceremony.
Oh,
yes.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's so
for
cool.
him and Alicia.
Such an honor.
It was amazing, man. I was so happy to do that. I think technically I cried during it. It's hard to say. I definitely got a little weepy because I was saying some nice stuff about him, and what a great dad he is, and just a human being, and it was really sweet. But I laughed thinking I'm the same guy that shouted at him as a friend when he got his plane, being like, "You're an idiot. I'm not going to read your eulogy."
That's a good friend, though. I mean, that's a good friend. I did Mikey. Speaking of Mike Schneier, I officiated his wedding a few months ago. He and his wife.
Isn't that amazing?
And it was so cool. It's such an honor. But I'm up there. It's on a boat in the marina, and I have some papers, and it's windy.
Right.
And I'm reading, and all of a sudden my papers are going, and I'm like, "Oh shit, where am I?"
Yeah.
And in your head you're like, "Fuck, I'm fucking this up, and then you find your place and you read, and then you say something to someone, and they're like, "You can't even tell. What are you talking about?" You're like, "Okay, it's in my head." But so
did they give you any guidance for what you were gonna do?
Nope. Matter of fact, I thought they wanted me to stretch it out for 15, 20 minutes, which I did. I wrote something and tried to stretch it out. They wanted me just to wham bam, thank you, yes.
Yeah.
And I extended it. So yeah, no, they didn't. I took it upon myself.
Alicia and Tanner asked me, and when they asked me, they were here. Alicia was shooting a movie in Peachtree City. Tanner had come to visit her, and he stayed with me a little bit, and we were having brunch, and they asked me a year and a half ago, and they were like, "Hey, we would like for you to marry us," and I started crying because I'm a sweetheart like that, is the nice way to put it. So I go into this whole thing thinking, okay, it's at their new house, this is a big deal. All my family's there. All right, guys, so let's talk about what's the plan? And they're like, whatever you want to do. I was like, no, but for what you want me to say and the vows and all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, we got no clue. Just whatever you want to, just write some stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So I start Googling
yep.
What does a marriage vow look like? Yeah, I was trying to put stuff together. And then I wrote pages of stuff, and I got a nice little leather bound book at the tiniest Walmart I've ever seen in Steamboat Springs. And I put everything together, and then I was like, well, they had gone in thinking, well, we'll just come up with some vows. We'll do some vows. And I was like, okay. Literally day and a half before, they're like, yeah, we don't want to do that. I'm like, oh God, I got to come up with that too? So then I was like, all right, well, let me write the base of that. I was like, what if I give you guys each an opportunity to talk? What if I say, hey, is there anything that you'd like to share, on your heart with each other? And they're like, oh, yeah, we can do that. I was like, oh, great. Okay. So I do an intro, we do some stuff, we talk about where we are, all the things that are going on. Hey, anything you guys want to share? And they both said something really nice, both about each other and there were other people being there. And it was awesome. But it was so, I don't know if I felt more pressure to nail something. I mean, you think about it, dude, I've been on the Super Bowl broadcast. I've been on Olympics. I've done all these insane things for work in my career that are what I think are huge and monumental and pressure filled. And then no cameras, just with people I love. It was the most intense day that I can remember in a long time. And when it was done, it was like adrenaline dump, and I was like, cool, all right, I'm ready to get out of here. I can go to bed now. And you're like, oh no, the party hasn't started. I was like, oh hell, man, I'm spent. I got nothing left in the tank.
It's so much fun, but you're right. It's so much pressure. You're like, you don't want to f up, and these are your biggest
No.
critics. You know, your family and friends, your closest family and friends. So
Yeah.
it's such pressure. But man, such an honor. I never thought it was as much as an honor until, you know, after I did it, and I'm like, well, it's kind of really fucking honor, right?
Yeah, it's special. That's awesome.
So I've done
man.
2 now. I've done my my best friend's son's wedding, and then Mikey's. So I'm on the market. So if anyone else needs, you know, Padre McGuire to come on out, let me know.
Man, go for Padre.
Go for Padre.
That should be your wedding service. Go for Padre.
That's funny. A little crossover.
The Universal Life Church, is that where you got ordained online?
Yeah, we do nothing but drink a lot of coffee and smoke a lot of weed. No,
That's
just kidding, kids. We don't do that. We drink coffee, though. Hey, one last question before I let you go. I can't thank you enough. What's next for you, Rhett? What are you doing now? I know you're sponsored with Toyota. You do the garage, right?
Well, yeah, I've been building a bunch of cars. TV was pretty slow this last year. I only did a couple things. What was so cool, NBC giving me the chance to host the Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge was amazing. You know, the bummer for TV is it's hard for any shows to get the kind of numbers that they need to put a lot of money into them, and that show was amazing. But cool for me, like I got to host my first primetime show, and I can't host my second without hosting my first, so that was awesome.
That's such a you just said you hosted a primetime show. Like,
Yeah,
it just
it's
registered me
ridiculous.
like you're actually hosting. It's crazy, Rutledge. Sorry.
Dude, the best part is I'm doing that. We shot the whole show in the UK, and all these executives from NBC are there, and they came up and they're like, "Wow, man, I just want to recognize. I recognize I'm tooting my horn, but it's not
Do it,
about that.
bro.
You
No,
know,
no.
because
I know.
you were there from day one.
I know.
So I just want to point out that all these people, they come out and they're like, "Wow, you are really good at this." They said you're like floor directing, and you're producing and hosting. You're doing all of this stuff at one time without any. They're not directing you to do that, but you can tell where the gaps are, and you're just trying to go and do this. They're like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I've been hiding on your sports content for 8 years. Like, I've just been buried at tracks and the Kentucky Derby and wherever else." And that was, you know, it was really neat because to me, the reason I share that story is I wouldn't have gotten those skills without people like you, without Rupert and Good Hair Gary and all these other places to know. Like, I was standing there, like I was the orchestra. I was the conductor for this orchestra. And this thing had, you know, these 2 people who'd never been on TV before met with their essentially like their mechanics, their team, who they had never been on TV before, and everyone's just looking at me. So I could hear our director, a guy named Chris Stott. I don't know, did you ever work with Stotty?
No.
Dude, he's amazing. He's so fun. And he's from Manchester originally. He looks like my older ginger brother, even though we might be the same age. Stotty is in the production room. I can hear him directing over the microphone of Tim Warren, who is the EP. Andy Thomas was the other. But I can hear Stotty in the mic, and he's telling the floor director, Shay, who was from Ireland, what he wanted in this moment. And then Shay and he would kind of talk back and forth. And then Shay would go and try to tell the people. And I realized, like, we're losing
So much
like
time.
30 seconds every single time. And I'd hear it and be like, "Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. I need everybody to look at me. When I start talking, when the camera comes here, only look at me for this part. And then when I point like this, I want everyone to turn and run towards whatever the thing was." And they're like, "Cool, everybody ready?" Okay. And then they'd count it, and then we'd go. And so it was funny for these executives that are on TV sets all the time, for them to have this appreciation of literally the guy that, you know, I'm still the dude that snuck my way into NASCAR from a Craigslist ad. Like, to have that change in what is a long time coming, you know, it's a career of 20 years, but still it feels like yesterday to me. Like, that was just such a special thing for me to go like, "Oh man, that's awesome. I am good at this." Like, that feels really,
Yeah.
that feels really nice to hear that. So the cool thing is, I think 25 is going to start to feel like stuff is back. As you know, like, our industry has kind of not recovered from the strikes. And I was I had just come back from the UK when we went on strike, and I was like, nah, this doesn't feel good. I don't know if I love this. I'm in a town, I'm in Peachtree City, Georgia, where we have this big movie studio, 10 minutes in either direction. There's two of them now, plus Tyler Perry's place, and nobody is working on anything. Like, everything is moved. It's just quiet right now. It's a weird thing. But I think the tides are starting to move, so I believe I'm going to be working on a really fun, adventurous show that's going to talk about cars and travel and all sorts of fun stuff. I'm excited to get to announce that once I have that paperwork in my hands.
Love it. Okay.
But I'm going to keep working on other stuff too. And I know it's funny. The biggest thing I've ever done is with this lava lamp, and the floor is lava behind me. And all of that happened because of people that we met and worked with on Top Gear, whether they moved to Netflix, wherever the kind of chips fell that got me hey, this guy's pretty fun. Like, he might be great for it. Floor is Lava, we had 38 million viewers our first month.
Sweet Jesus, man.
When we launched. And now, I know we launched in 2020. A lot of people were home. But we got to do 3 seasons of this show that made people smile and laugh all over the world. And I'm really, really proud of that. So I also, if I end up being a game show host for the rest of my life, that's going to be great too. I just love what I do.
You are a household... Hi, Hudson. You are a household name, man. I mean, kids know you. Our neighbors, who we're good friends with, their younger kids know you from Floor is Lava. I'm like, yeah, I know Rutledge Wood. They're like, how do you know Rutledge Wood? I'm trying to explain, and they're like, what? I'm like,
I slept in a cabin in Iceland with him, but there were other. It wasn't just, we weren't just vacationing, the two of us.
Yeah, there were other people. What? I mean, that didn't sound right either.
No, I mean, there was a bunch of dudes, and we broke into a cabin. No, let me start over. Yeah, it's just funny. It just cracks me up that all the fun things that I've gotten to do, and so many of them are because of the show that we got to work on together. And there's so many people, Greg and Roche helped me so much, on the in-car side. The day one of Top Gear, you got to talk to this tiny little thing that's over here on the A pillar of the car. So I now need to it's like I needed to date the car, but the car was always changing. And it's this inanimate object that you've got to look into and be comfortable with and have this relationship with. And it's just funny to think, you fast forward all these years and man, I still get to do this and make people smile every day for a living. How lucky am I? So I hope I get to do this forever, man. I love doing it, and getting to do stuff like this with you is so fun. So here's what I know. There's never been a better time for Adam and Tanner and I to come back and bring Top Gear back to life. And I believe that there are TV executives smart enough to realize when you have a show with a built-in audience in a time that people aren't watching things enough, now would be a great time to bring something like that back. So I'm holding on to that faith. We've had a chance to do some other stuff together, and we've had to pass because some of it was just too hokey. Because even though we joke Top Gear is 3 idiots in cars, it's also a lot of people that work really hard on making sure we had everything else we needed to go make a great show, and you were one of those people. So I hope we get to do lots more, brother. But I'm appreciate you having me so much. What a fun time to get to do this with you.
I'm so excited. I can't thank you enough. And hopefully I'll be able to round all 3 of you up at some point to get you back on the show, because I know getting all 3 of you together, what shenanigans ensue in person. And when you guys were doing, what was Adam's podcast?
Speedy, Beardy, and the Mole.
That's right. Speedy, Beardy, and the Mole. I know you guys were having, and whenever you guys get together and laugh and post it, I mean, people love that shit. And they love listening to you guys, because you guys you're genuinely good friends. And it all just comes out when you guys talk and laugh at each other and laugh at each other. And, it's so endearing. So I love it. I can't thank you enough, Rutledge Wood. But I guess we better get back to Channel 1, because they're always calling me, man. They're always calling me.
I know they are. Hey, thanks for having me. Rep for Donny.
Thanks, Rutledge Wood.
I love you, brother.
Take it easy, man.
Production for Donny.
Go for Donny. Locations for Donny. Go for Donny.
Habitat for Donny.
Go for Donny. Hey, Donny, what the hell are they doing?